My name is Colleen, and this is my kitchen. I've struggled with my weight my entire life. After trying every diet in the book without any success, I came to the realization that diets don't work. I started my journey at a size 26W, weighing just over 300 pounds. In almost a year and a half, I've lost over 120 pounds, and I am a size 14. No W. What's my secret? Eating healthy and moving more. Now I'm here to show you how you can cook healthy food without compromising on taste and lose weight just like I have. Because if I can do it, you can too.
Hello and welcome back to my kitchen. Tonight I have some recipe makeovers for you. I have a couple of recipes that I found on Pinterest, so I've leaned them up to make them tasty yet lower in calories, lower in fat. And so what we're going to be making tonight, I've got some baked coconut chicken tenders for you that are really good. They bake up nice and crispy. And then we're going to pair that with a leaner version of the avocado wasabi salad. It's absolutely delicious and they go very well together. So let's start with the salad. The chicken cooks really quickly, so I like to have the salad ready to go so that those don't get too cold while we're monkeying with the salad. And so I'm going to start by sauteing up about a cup of broccoli that's chopped pretty small here. I've just got a skillet that I've sprayed with some non-stick olive oil cooking spray. And I want to cook that just until it's a little bit tender and nice and brown on the outside. While that's cooking, I've got here one head of romaine lettuce. I've taken off those big outer leaves, so I'm only using just the innards of it, that I'm going to slice up. Throw right in my salad bowl. And then I have an ounce of fresh basil. And I've taken the stems off of it, and now I'm just going to give it a rough chop here. We tend to think of basil as Italian, but in fact, you'll find basil used in a lot of Asian cooking as well. I'm just going to throw that in with my lettuce there. It's going to be so good. It smells divine already. Let's give that just a little bit of a toss. Next, I have one medium carrot that I'm going to shred here. Let's just add that right on top of our salad. Next, I have a small red bell pepper here, and what I like to do is just slice right down the outside cheek, and that way all the seeds stay right here and then get into the flesh, which I'm going to slice up very thin, julienne style, just like that. Last step for right now is I have half a cup of garbanzo beans that I've drained and rinsed really well under cold water. Just going to add those on there. And then my broccoli is nice and tender here, and so I'm just going to put that right into a bowl. And I want this to cool down before I add it to my salad. So now what I'm going to do is put both of these in the fridge and let them sit while I get my chicken going. So we'll be right back. Before we get started on the chicken, I want to add one more thing to the salad, or prep one more thing to the salad, and that is 2 tablespoons of raw slivered almonds. I've got my pan here on medium heat, which I haven't added any oil to because the almonds are going to give off their own oils. And so I just want to toast these. I'm going to have to keep an eye on those because they do cook quickly, and I want to cook them just until they start turning a slight golden brown. So while that cooks, let's get our dredging bowls ready for our chicken. And we're going to have 2 dredging bowls. The first one, I'm going to put a 1/4 cup of light coconut milk in. That's going to help give those chicken tenders a little bit extra coconut flavor. And then I've got 1 egg white, and I just want to whisk that in really well until it's broken up and combined. In my next bowl, I have 3/4 cup of panko breadcrumbs, and the panko breadcrumbs are going to help this stay nice and crispy even though it's baked. They work much better than regular breadcrumbs, so I highly recommend them using the panko breadcrumbs instead of the regular breadcrumbs. And then I have 3 tablespoons of a shredded unsweetened coconut. So I found this in the specialty foods aisle because most of the coconut that you will find in the baking aisle is sweetened. And so you want to make sure to get the unsweetened stuff. That lowers the calorie content. And again, that's 3 tablespoons. Those almonds have toasted up really nicely, so I am just going to put them back in their little bowl here, because I want them to cool down before we add them to the salad. And then last thing we're going to add to our bowls is a 1/2 cup of roughly chopped cilantro. I'm going to put that in there with the breadcrumbs and the coconut, and just give that a good stir. Mix that up really well. Adds a little bit of flavor to the dish, and adds a little bulk to the bowl to help us get a little more of the chicken covered. For our chicken tenders, I have 6 boneless, skinless chicken breast tenderloins that I've put into a Ziploc bag here, and I'm going to use the smooth or flat side of my mallet to pound them to about 1/4 of an inch thin. Once I have those pounded, I like to take each chicken breast and cut it into 4 or 5 pieces, depending on how big that chicken breast is. So it should give me pieces about like that once it's cut up into strips. And I'm going to do that with all 6 of these. And then we'll disinfect our work surface before we come back and start breading these up. So first of all, my oven is preheating to 425, and I've got a baking sheet here that I've sprayed with some non-stick olive oil cooking spray, and we've got those chicken pieces that we've sliced up, and our 2 dredging bowls that we've prepared. Now, to keep this semi-neat on the hands, what I like to do is use 1 hand for the wet part, 1 hand for the dry ingredients. So I'll roll a piece in the coconut milk and egg white mixture, kind of let some of that drip off there, and then put it into my dry mixture, those breadcrumbs and the coconut and cilantro, and then pull it right out of there, kind of shake off the excess, and put it onto my baking sheet, just like that. And I'm going to keep doing that with all of the pieces here. Once I have those all coated, I'm going to go ahead and put them in my oven. Again, that's at 425, and I want to bake them for 4 minutes on each side. While that chicken cooks, we're going to prepare a dipping sauce here. And so for that, I have a 1/4 cup of honey. And by the way, the recipes that I'm preparing tonight will feed 4 people. To that, let's add the juice of 1 lime. And then I've got 1 teaspoon of a rice wine vinegar, which is a little bit sweet as vinegars go, but it'll still help to cut the sweetness of that honey. And then, for a little bit of kick, and to go with our salad, I've got 2 teaspoons of a wasabi horseradish that I'm going to add in here. So once you have all that in, what you want to do is take your whisk and just whisk that around until it blends really well. That horseradish, that wasabi horseradish should blend in there so that you can't even really see it anymore. Now I'm going to let this cook on medium just until it blends up a little bit, starts to bubble just a little bit, and then I'm going to remove it from the heat and let it cool down, and that'll let the sauce thicken up a little bit. While our chicken finishes up there, let's finish up this salad by making the dressing for it. And our starring attraction is a small avocado. And what I'm going to do to help me dice it up here is actually just cut it right in the skin and then use a fork to just pull that out. You want to use a small avocado for this. You also want to make sure it's ripe so that it'll get nice and creamy in that dressing. So to that, let's add a tablespoon of rice vinegar. Then we're going to add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And then 3 tablespoons of a non-fat plain Greek yogurt. Then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of soy sauce and 1 teaspoon of that wasabi horseradish. Mix this really well, really creaming up that avocado so that my dressing has the consistency of something like a ranch dressing. You want it to be nice and thick and creamy. So let's serve this up. My chicken tenders came out really nice and crispy. To finish up my salad, I'm just going to add that broccoli that we sauteed right on the top there, and then those almonds that we toasted. Beautiful. So, to serve this up, again, this whole meal is going to serve 4 people total. But you can see how much it makes. Nice big servings. And I get a little bit of that avocado wasabi dressing that we made for it. And there is our dinner. How beautiful is that? I hope you give this a try, and I hope that I see you next time in my kitchen.